Hey folks, I just want to talk to you a little bit about what's going on with the beef market and how the media is trying to blow this way out of proportion, sensationalize things, and definitely stretch the truth. And they're just outright being disingenuous. So let me just get right into it. So the media, they're outright lying to us about what's going on with these beef imports that the Trump administration is taking credit for. The United States has always imported lean beef, and that's because the beef in the United States is produced is too fat for consumption. So we use the imported beef to blend with ours to get the various blends that we see in the markets, like the 80-20 blend, the 85-15, and the 90-10. Those are, again, the imported lean beef that's blended with the very fatty beef that the U.S. provides. And the U.S. mainly has very fat beef is because of the prime cuts that come from that same cattle. Those are mainly for the export market. There is a little bit that stays here in the United States for local consumption, but the majority of it goes to like Japan, South Korea, Hong Kong, Taiwan, those places that will pay top dollar for those premium cuts. So this is nothing new. The only change is really that that's become news is that the President Trump has made a temporary stay on the import tax. The Trump administration authorized up to 300,000 metric tons of ground beef to enter the U.S. tariff-free for 90 days. So when you see the media portray this as some new idea of importing ground beef, this is them being disingenuous about the facts, and the farmers they interview, they're either ignorant to the cattle market or they too are being disingenuous about their concerns, as the only impact the temporary removal of the import tax would be to lower the ground beef costs for consumers at the market. Prime beef cuts like ribeye, sirloin, they'll remain at all-time high prices until the U.S. cattle market establishes sustainable production levels, which they're estimating that's going to take between 3 to 5 years, and that is if there's no threats of drought or disease. President Trump is trying to pat himself on the back for some good deed that he's helping Argentina because he's claiming that they are financially hurting. And so he's thinking by importing their beef, it's going to help them out. But those imports from Argentina are the smallest in numbers compared to the other sources of ground beef that we import. So just to give you an idea, so Australia is the number one supplier. Their cattle is it's grass-fed cattle, produce very lean trim, ideal for blending. And then New Zealand is second. It's similar to Australia, consistent supply of high-quality lean beef. And then Mexico, they're a large supplier due to the proximity and cost efficiency. But there's a fear of importing in Mexico beef at the moment because of that screwworm. And Texas is risking a lot of their cattle getting infected just because of the close proximity. Canada, so of course they're integrated with North American supply chain. It's steady, and they also provide good lean trim exports. Uruguay is they're smaller but reliable source of grass-fed lean trim as well. And then Argentina is really the last. They're an occasional supplier, and it's more limited due to stricter U.S. imports. And just recently, as I reported yesterday in a video, is that they had recently in the spring, I believe it was in March of this year, China had imported in like 22 tons of their beef that they found had a bad antibiotic that had been banned since 1995. And they had found that, and it causes asphyxia, arrhythmia, or whatever. It causes heart conditions, and it's a carcinogen, so it's also cancer causing. So there's concern about importing in beef from Argentina. But Trump's wanted to take some big pat on the back like he's doing them a favor, and then it's just all bloated hogwash. Anyway, so the core facts here is the beef shortage. Cattle herd is at its lowest production since 2015 due to years of drought and herd liquidation. These farmers, the ranchers, are not able to hold on to their herds because they can't feed them and water them properly, and so that makes the feed cost remains high, which is slowing herd rebuilding and reducing feedlot placements. Processing plants are running below capacity because there isn't enough cattle. And I know Tyson just closed one plant and they're looking to close some others. And then there's the biological threats like the New World screwworm from Mexico, and that's increased risk and pressure the supply chain. So the U.S. export premium cuts because the foreign market pays more and we have contracts with them that are long term. The U.S. imports lean trim to blend with the domestic fatty trim for ground beef, and this has happened standard practice for decades. This is nothing new. Don't let the media hype you otherwise. They're great at sensationalizing, and you can just see the reactions in the news. So imports do not replace the export cuts. They serve different parts of the market. So the president can adjust tariffs, quotas, and emergency import rules, but does not negotiate the individual import deals. So retail beef prices are going to remain high due to tight supply and strong export demand and blending needs. And that's going to be like so for, the next 3 to 5 years. So overall, just to summarize, record high beef prices come from a shrunken herd, high production cost, reduced processing, export incentives, and long-standing reliance on import lean trim for ground beef. So there you have it. That's how it is. That's the actual facts. And it'd be good to go and look up your own sources of this information. But the media is outright hyperbolizing. They're lying to you. They're sensationalizing, trying to, they are reporting to people that they want emotional reaction from, and you see it. And I'm just mind boggled that the ranchers that are being interviewed are saying what they're saying, because again, they're either oblivious to what the cattle market really is, even though cattle is their business. It just doesn't make sense. So clear that there's something going on there. But it's all hype and hoopla. Anyway, I tell you, I hope I never get that tick, that bite, the one that makes you allergic to red meat, because I am 100% non-vegan and I love my beef, and I've been resistant to buy some steaks, but man, my brother was talking about grilling out some steaks the other day, and that made me want a good ribeye. So I think because of the issue with Argentina, with the risk of their steroid problem, their antibiotic problem that they had that was banned, I'm gonna kind of stay away from ground beef for a while. But steaks, I think I'll go ahead and spend the $20 to $25 a pound and get a couple ribeyes and throw on the grill, because that sounds really good right about now. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for upcoming videos, and please comment. Let me know your thoughts about this. Peace out.